Hey there, sleepyheads. Welcome back to Boring History for Sleep, the place where the past whispers its secrets gently and the present fades into a soft hum. Tonight we're casting our minds back to a time far removed from digital clocks and temperature-controlled rooms, a time when humanity was just beginning to etch its story onto the vast untamed canvas of the Paleolithic era. It's a journey into the raw, unvarnished truth of what daily life truly meant for our ancient ancestors, devoid of romanticized notions or thrilling narratives, focusing instead on the quiet resilience and the surprisingly complex routines that govern their existence. Allow your mind to softly drift as we journey back to a world where every sunrise brought immediate and tangible demands, shaping every action from dawn to dusk. You stir not to the gentle chime of an alarm, but to the deep, resonant chill that bites at your exposed skin, even through the thin layer of dried grass and the animal hide you've pulled over yourself. The air around you is thick, a heavy blend of damp earth-wood smoke and the undeniable, pervasive scent of unwashed bodies, a constant, almost comforting aroma that has become your everyday reality. You're not alone. A quiet rustle from beside you confirms the proximity of your family, perhaps a partner, children, or a close kin, all huddled together for warmth. Privacy in this nascent form of society is a concept as foreign as central heating. Every sigh, every shift, every quiet cough echoes through the small, tight-knit sleeping group, fostering an unavoidable intimacy, a shared vulnerability that binds you all in the pre-dawn gloom. You learn quickly that your body heat combined with theirs is a crucial shield against the relentless cold, a silent, unspoken pact of survival. You're likely not in a grand cavern, for such natural shelters are a rare luxury often contested and jealously guarded. More often than not, your home is a rudimentary hut pieced together with an ingenuity born of sheer necessity. Imagine thick branches, perhaps mammoth ribs if you're fortunate enough to have scavenged them, lashed together with sinew or tough vines, then covered with layer upon layer of animal hides, or packed dirt and grass. The earthy, smoky scent within, often faintly of trapped moisture, is a persistent dampness that seems to seep into everything. You've helped build these structures yourself, a strenuous communal effort marked by trial and error. You remember the frustration, the aching muscles, the frequent leaks during a heavy downpour, or the terrifying collapse during an unexpected snowstorm, requiring yet another weary round of repairs. Imperfection, you've discovered, is not a flaw to be corrected, but a constant companion to be resiliently accepted. Your shelters are seasonal too. Lighter, more quickly erected huts suffice for the brief, less harsh summers, allowing for greater mobility. But as winter approaches, the construction shifts to heavily reinforced, thicker-walled structures designed to combat brutal cold and crushing snowfalls that can last for months. These winter dwellings carry an even stronger scent of old hides and trapped moisture, a testament to their long, arduous use. Forget about furniture, it's a non-existent concept. A flat rock serves as a momentary rest for your back, a pile of hides a softer place to sit. You'd quickly grasp that true luxury wasn't a feather bed but a dry corner, miraculously free of drafts under a roof that for once decided not to weep onto your face. Despite their discomforts, these raw and exposed homes, however temporary or rough, represent a fundamental human ingenuity, effectively serving as life-sustaining cocoons against the untamed forces of the prehistoric world, however basic they might seem to your modern sensibilities. You'd be surprised by how quickly you adapt to this simple yet profoundly challenging rhythm of life. You rise, or rather uncurl from your sleeping spot, the muscles in your back protesting slightly from the hard, uneven ground. The first order of business, even before the sun truly breaches the horizon, is the communal fire. Its embers, glowing faintly, are the very pulse of your band's survival. You've been assigned fire duty countless times, and you know the immense pressure it carries. Letting it die completely means the arduous, time-consuming task of restarting it from scratch with friction tools, a process that demands immense effort and skill, particularly when your fingers are stiff with cold and the air is thick with dampness. The pervasive chill until the fire fully roars is palpable, a constant reminder of nature's indifference. So you carefully coax the embers back to life, adding small twigs, then larger pieces of wood, watching the flames dance and grow, casting flickering shadows across the faces of your still sleeping companions. This isn't just about warmth, it's about protection from predators, about cooking, and about light in the vast enveloping darkness. Your stomach gives a familiar hollow rumble. Paleolithic mealtime, you've quickly discovered, is an opportunistic and utterly unpredictable affair, dictated entirely by immediate availability rather than any semblance of a schedule. The rare treasured windfall of a bit of dried meat left over from a previous day's hunt is a moment of unexpected ease, a fleeting respite from the constant gnawing emptiness that often accompanies your days. More often than not, most mornings begin with the stark reality of the previous hunt's failure, or simply that all prior provisions have been consumed. This means immediate foraging for breakfast. You might spend hours digging for roots with a sharpened stick, your back aching, your hands grubby with earth. Or perhaps you'd meticulously check berry bushes, scanning the landscape with an experienced eye for edible plants, not yet claimed by opportunistic animals, or more frequently the quick hands of other children in your band. Your dietary choices are profoundly seasonal, a calendar written in the earth itself. Spring offers a welcome abundance of fresh greens and tender shoots, a vibrant, albeit temporary relief. Summer brings forth fruits and berries, a sweet burst of energy that you savour with every bite, knowing it won't last. But winter, oh winter, is a different beast entirely. It ushers in periods of intense, desperate hunger, forcing a reliance on stored provisions that are often meagre, carefully rationed and always insufficient. The constant feeling of gnawing emptiness becomes a familiar companion, a low-level anxiety that underscores every waking moment. Protein sources, when you manage to find them, are varied but inconsistent. Small animals, birds, or even insects like grubs are caught and roasted whole, their crunch and meagre substance providing essential if unappetizing nutrients. There's rarely culinary delight in these meals, only the sheer necessity of survival. Food, whether hunted or foraged, is a precious resource, not a courtesy. While sharing is common within family groups, an unwritten rule for collective survival, the individual who acquires it holds temporary social leverage, a quiet demonstration of their critical contribution, a testament to their skill and importance to the band. Water collection is another unceasing priority, a task that falls to many, but often to the younger, more agile members of the group. You'd spend significant portions of your day seeking out streams, natural springs, or even the temporary puddles left by recent rains. There are no filtered bottles or purification tablets in your world. You consume water raw directly from the source, acutely aware of the constant internal gamble you're taking. The debilitating gut bacteria that frequently accompany unfiltered water are a familiar if terrifying adversary. You've seen and experienced the agony of stomach cramps and sickness, knowing full well that such ailments can weaken an individual, making them a burden to the group, or worse, a target for predators. This isn't a minor inconvenience. It's a direct threat to your existence, making every drink a calculated risk, every clear spring a cherished discovery. When a large animal is successfully brought down, a momentous, often celebratory occasion, the valuable leftovers are managed with meticulous care. You'd participate in the arduous process of stripping meat, perhaps helping to smoke long strips over a slow fire to preserve them, or carefully extracting nutrient-rich marrow from cracked bones. These precious provisions are then carefully hidden, often high in trees, or tucked away in crevices wrapped in leaves or hides, not just from opportunistic scavengers, but also from the ever-present determined hunger of children within your own band. There's a constant low-level anxiety over whether enough food will be found each day to quiet the persistent pangs of hunger. Skipping a meal by choice is an inconceivable luxury, a concept entirely alien to your reality. Every single day presents a new gamble for sustenance, a relentless primal quest that defines your existence from the moment you wake until you finally drift into an uneasy sleep. Personal cleanliness in this world is strictly practical, aimed at preventing disease and maintaining a rudimentary, albeit pungent, group harmony. Bathing occurs seasonally in streams or rivers only when the water isn't freezing, an event that feels more like a necessary chore than a refreshing luxury. More often, personal care involves wiping dirt from your skin and hair with abrasive leaves, coarse sand, or if you're lucky, a bit of precious animal fat. The communal air redolent with smoke, damp earth, and the distinct scent of many bodies in close quarters is so ubiquitous that it's simply the way things are rarely consciously noticed by its inhabitants. When available, animal fat serves multiple purposes: a rudimentary scrub providing a greasy, earthy cleansing, a protective layer against the biting cold, and even a barrier against incessant biting insects, a utilitarian application far removed from any modern idea of personal care. Dental care, as you might imagine, is equally rudimentary. You chew fibrous sticks or gnaw on bones to clean your teeth, an instinctive habit, rather than a formalised practice. However, the constant consumption of tough unprocessed meat, coarse grains, and the grit from grinding stones leads to severe dental wear. You see it in the older members of your band, teeth worn down to stumps, frequent tooth loss and aching jaws. A small if gritty comfort was the notable absence of true cavities, a peculiar silver lining of a perpetually sugar-free existence. Your hair, typically long and often matted, provides a fertile ground for pervasive lice infestations. These unwelcome companions are sometimes combated with ash dirt or animal oils, but more often than not they are simply endured and accepted part of your reality, accompanied by constant irritating itching. Your clothing consisting of unwashed animal hides does not breathe well and contributes significantly to the collective body odour, creating a distinctive, pungent, prehistoric cave smell that is an inherent part of the environment rarely noticed by its inhabitants because it's simply the way things are. Despite the pronounced lack of modern sanitation and luxurious personal care products, you and your group possess surprisingly robust immune systems. This resilience, honed over countless generations of direct interaction with natural pathogens combined with the small, isolated nature of your communities, generally prevents the catastrophic major outbreaks of disease that would plague later, more densely populated societies. You might get sick, often severely, but localized infections are more common than widespread epidemics that wipe out entire bands. This constant adaptation to a shared olfactory environment means that any significant deviations in scent are the only noticeable anomalies. If one of your companions, for instance, were to roll in a dead animal for camouflage during a hunt, you'd immediately notice the alien stench, a testament to the low, consistent standard of personal care that governs your daily life. The Paleolithic day demands immediate practical action. Upon waking, as the fire is coaxed back to life, your next priority is often tool maintenance. You or other members of your band will spend hours painstakingly flaking flint or obsidian. This is not a casual hobby. It's a significant daily labour, a process demanding immense precision and patience against the constant risk of injury. A slip of the hand can result in a deep gash, a broken finger, or a ruined blade, all significant setbacks in a world where sharp edges are synonymous with survival. You watch and learn the rhythmic strike of hammerstone against core, the careful pressure, the precise angle needed to create the perfect sharp edge for a spear, a knife, or a scraper. These tools are your extensions, your means of processing food, crafting shelters, and defending yourselves. Hunting is rarely an individual pursuit. It's a highly coordinated full-team operation, a complex dance of strategy, strength, and daring. You participate or observe the scouts silently moving ahead, mapping out game trails, assessing animal movements. You'd help with trap preparation, digging pits, or setting snares with cunning and foresight. Then comes the synchronized ambush, a physically demanding endeavor, filled with shouting, the whoosh of spears, and the constant heart-pounding threat of large, powerful animals capable of crushing bones or goring with terrifying speed. You learn to move as one, to anticipate the movements of both your prey and your fellow hunters, your life, often depending on their actions and your own ability to react. This isn't just about food, it's about courage, skill, and the profound trust you place in your companions. Foraging, often the primary responsibility of women, older adults and children, involves extensive walks across varied and often challenging terrains. This isn't a stroll in the park. It requires a keen eye, an intimate, almost instinctive knowledge of botany and endless patience. You'd learn from an early age to identify edible plants, roots and berries, distinguishing them from their poisonous lookalikes. It's a quiet, sustained effort, hours spent bending, digging and collecting, each valuable morsel a small victory against scarcity. This is a task that demands acute observation, an almost meditative focus on the details of the natural world. You might not bring down a mammoth, but your basket of berries, your bundle of roots, is just as crucial to the survival of the band as the hunter's kill. This constant cycle of gathering day after day, year after year, connects you intimately to the land and its rhythms. Fire duty, as you've already experienced, is a continuous and essential responsibility. For designated individuals, often rotating members of the group, it demands constant vigilance to feed the flames with wood and kindling to protect its warmth from the wind and to ensure its survival through the night. The immense pressure and responsibility for the group's warmth, safety, and ability to cook are deeply felt. The steady gleam of the fire is more than just heat and light. It's a living entity, a vital companion in the vast dark wilderness, a fragile barrier against the unknown. You learn to respect its power, its constant need for fuel, and the silent language of its smoke. Building and repairing shelters is another communal labour, requiring the shared effort of gathering materials, branches, mud, hides, lashing frameworks together and covering the structures against the elements. You've learned to accept the frequent need for repairs, often undertaken in driving rain or biting winds, as a simple fact of life. Your home is always a work in progress, a testament to your ongoing struggle against an indifferent nature. There's a quiet satisfaction, though, in seeing a repaired roof hold against a storm, knowing your collective effort has once again provided a safe if temporary haven. This constant cycle of construction and maintenance reinforces the deep communal bonds that define your existence. Parenting in the Paleolithic world is a ceaseless high-stakes labour. You understand that children are incredibly vulnerable, constantly exposed to cliffs predators and the ever-present danger of the communal fire. Supervision is not just a recommendation, it's a matter of life and death. You instill safety rules not through abstract warnings or lengthy explanations, but through direct, immediate discipline. A sharp tug, a firm hand, a simple, decisive verbal command like "no fall" or "fire bad," delivered with an urgency that leaves no room for misinterpretation. There is no coddling, only the harsh, loving reality of ensuring survival in a perilous environment. Every lesson is a critical survival skill, every boundary a line between safety and danger. Travel and mobility, integral to your nomadic lifestyle, are demanding physical labours. You undertake long, arduous walks across diverse landscapes, from dense forests to open plains, from rocky hillsides to muddy riverbanks. You carry all your essential belongings, tools, spare hides, and often your young children bundled close against your body. There are no paved roads, no comfortable carriages, no easy modes of transport. You are fully exposed to the elements, the blistering sun, the torrential rain, the biting wind, the deep snow. Every journey is a test of endurance, a testament to your physical resilience and mental fortitude. Each step is a conscious effort, each vista a reminder of the vastness and indifference of the world. This constant movement, this relentless adaptation to new terrains, becomes a rhythm woven into the very fabric of your being. Children, you notice, are typically the first to stir at dawn, their youthful energy a vibrant contrast to the adults' deliberate, heavy-footed preparations. They don't linger in bed. Instead, they immediately begin seeking out food or engaging in exploratory play with sticks and stones. This isn't just idle amusement. Their constant movement and inquisitive nature are vital aspects of their learning, a direct engagement with their immediate world. You might see a toddler gnawing on a bone or an older child meticulously arranging pebbles, unconsciously mimicking the flint-knapping skills of their elders. This early awakening and ceaseless activity are a natural part of their growth, preparing them for the relentless demands of their future. Infants in your community are swaddled tightly in animal hides or plant fibres, not just for warmth, but also for security, for their protection from the elements and accidental bumps. Messes are simply a fact of life, an unavoidable reality in a world without diapers or washing machines. You've seen mothers pragmatically manage these situations often by placing babies on rocks for easier clean-up, a practical choice born of necessity. The distinct smell of infant and hide is ever present in the communal living spaces, another layer in the complex tapestry of scents that define your home. It's a smell that speaks of new life, of vulnerability, and of the constant intimate proximity that binds your family unit. Mothers breastfeed their children for years, a sustained and intimate bond of nourishment that often extends well into toddlerhood. There is no alternative baby formula, no specialized diets. Breast milk is the sole vital source of sustenance for the youngest members of your band. The concept of pre-chewing tough meat for toddlers is an inefficient, if sometimes necessary, feeding strategy when solid food is introduced. You might see a mother carefully masticating a piece of cooked meat, softening it with her saliva, before offering it to her child, a direct and primal act of care. This long period of breastfeeding fosters a deep connection between mother and child, a continuous cycle of dependency and protection, in a world where survival hangs by a thread. Discipline is swift, direct, and above all life-saving. There's no room for lengthy explanations or abstract reasoning when a child ventures too close to danger. A quick, immediate physical intervention, a sharp pull away from the fire, a firm grasp preventing a fall from a rocky outcrop, is followed by a sharp, simple verbal command. No fall. Stay close. Fire bad. These are not suggestions, they're commands delivered with an urgency that conveys the high stakes of their perilous environment. A child who repeatedly ignores such warnings is not merely misbehaving, they're risking their life and potentially endangering the group. There's no time for timeouts. Survival demands immediate understanding and compliance. This direct, no-nonsense approach to discipline shapes the children's understanding of their world, teaching them to respect its inherent dangers. Play you observe is absolutely central to Paleolithic childhood. It serves as the primary mode of education, far more effective than any formal lesson. Children learn through constant, uninhibited interaction with their natural environment. A stick isn't just a stick. It becomes a miniature spear, a digging tool, a defensive weapon against an imaginary predator. Rocks are not merely rocks. They become flint for practice, napping targets for throwing, or markers for games of chase. Through these simple imaginative activities, children develop crucial survival skills, hand-eye coordination, observation, problem-solving, and an intuitive understanding of the natural world. They are in essence playing at being adults, honing the very skills they will need to survive and contribute to the band. This isn't play as a break from learning. It is the learning. Formal education or predetermined career paths as you understand them today are entirely non-existent. There are no schools, no teachers, no apprenticeships in the modern sense. Children naturally become something: a hunter, a gatherer, a healer, a toolmaker, based on their observed aptitudes, their developing survival skills, and often a good deal of general luck. A child who shows a keen eye for tracking might spend more time with the hunters, silently observing, learning the subtle signs of animal movement. Another, with a natural knack for identifying plants, might be drawn to the gatherers, absorbing botanical knowledge through direct experience. There's no pressure to conform to a specific role. Instead, roles emerge organically from individual capabilities and the needs of the group. Older children are integrated into daily chores, early becoming semi-functional members of society by the age of 10 or even younger. You'd see them assisting with kindling collection, their small hands deftly picking up dry twigs. They might help fetch water, carrying smaller containers or guiding younger siblings to the stream. Protecting drying meat from opportunistic birds or scavenging animals is another common task, a responsibility they take seriously, despite their youthful antics. These contributions, though seemingly small, are meaningful. They free up adults for more demanding tasks and teach the children the value of collective effort. They learn through direct participation that every individual's contribution, no matter how minor, is vital to the group's survival. They are not merely observers, they are active participants in the daily struggle for existence. Education in this world is entirely informal. It is acquired through continuous observation, repetitive practice, and direct, often harsh, trial by mud experiences. Nature itself is the demanding, unsympathetic teacher. You learn by doing, by failing, and by trying again. A wrong choice of berry could lead to a stomachache, a misplaced footfall to a sprained ankle. The rough texture of the world is your classroom, its unforgiving lessons etched not into tablets or scrolls, but into your very being. You learn to read the subtle signs of the forest, to understand the flow of the river, to anticipate the change in the weather. This constant immersive learning, driven by the imperative of survival, shapes you into a resilient, resourceful individual, intimately connected to the environment that sustains you. As the sun begins its slow descent, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, the intimate routines and personal struggles of daily Paleolithic existence, forged in the crucible of your physical surroundings, give way to another crucial aspect of life. These daily rhythms simultaneously give rise to a rich, if unwritten, social code and a deep cultural understanding of your place in the world. It is within the quiet hum of the evening fire, after the relentless demands of physical survival have somewhat subsided, that the foundations of community and shared identity are subtly reinforced. This isn't merely a break from labour. It's a vital communal ritual, weaving the individual threads of daily experience into the larger tapestry of the group. Paleolithic society, you begin to understand, operates with an implicit social structure, one far removed from the rigid hierarchies of later civilizations. It's a fluid system driven almost entirely by individual merit and immediate contributions to the group's survival, rather than fixed birthright or accumulated wealth. There are no kings, no nobles, no inherited titles. Instead, respect is earned day by day through tangible actions. This creates a dynamic, skill-based system where influence is constantly negotiated and reaffirmed. You quickly learn to recognize those whose skills are most vital, those whose expertise commands a quiet, unstated authority. Take, for instance, the individual who successfully delivered the kill from a hunt. This is a momentous achievement, an act of courage and skill that directly ensures the group's sustenance. Such a person earns significant, though temporary, status. You would observe that they often receive the choicest cut of meat, perhaps the liver rich in nutrients or a particularly tender muscle. They garner greater communal respect, a visible nod of approval, and often a brief reprieve from the less desirable chores. This isn't a permanent promotion, it's a temporary acknowledgement of a critical contribution, a public affirmation of their value to the collective. This kind of immediate merit-based reward system reinforces behaviours that directly benefit the group's survival. Specific aptitudes beyond hunting prowess also garner high regard. You'd quickly learn to seek out and defer to those with proven expertise in other critical areas. The master toolmaker whose hands can coax a perfectly sharp edge from a stubborn piece of flint commands a quiet respect. Their ability to craft efficient weapons and processing tools is invaluable. The keen tracker whose eyes can read the subtle signs of the forest, a broken twig, a disturbed patch of moss, leading the group to game or safe passage is equally revered. Or the individual with an uncanny knack for effective fire maintenance, ensuring the life-giving flames never falter. These specialists, though not holding formal positions, solidify their influence within the band through their indispensable skills guiding others and contributing significantly to the collective's ability to endure and thrive. Gender roles, while not rigidly defined by abstract societal decrees, often saw women, children and elders primarily engaged in foraging. This wasn't a choice born of oppression, but a practical division of labour based on physical capabilities, inherent risks, and the imperative of efficiency. Hunting large game was a physically demanding and inherently dangerous endeavour, often requiring strength, speed and endurance best suited for adult males. Foraging, while also demanding, allowed for constant supervision of younger children, and was less prone to sudden violent confrontations with large predators. You recognise this division as a pragmatic strategy for survival, ensuring that all members contributed effectively according to their strengths and minimising unnecessary risks. Respected elders, shamans or medicine people often held informal authority within your band. Their influence stemmed not from physical prowess, but from their accumulated wisdom, their deep understanding of the natural world, and their knowledge of healing plants and remedies. In times of crisis, during widespread sickness, or when facing difficult decisions about migration or resource allocation, their counsel would be sought and respected. Their spiritual insights, their connection to the unseen forces of the world, often made them central figures in guiding the group, offering comfort and direction when facing the unknown. They were the keepers of stories, the interpreters of dreams, and the healers of bodies and spirits, embodying a different yet equally vital form of leadership. The absence of formal ranks or inherited titles meant that social standing was a continuously negotiated and reaffirmed process. You couldn't rest on past laurels. Your influence was directly tied to your daily acts of competence, courage, and consistent contribution. A successful hunt one day might bring respect, but a series of failures could quickly diminish it. This constant need to prove oneself to contribute meaningfully fostered an environment where individual capability directly translated to influence. It was a dynamic, fluid system, ensuring that leadership and respect were earned through tangible efforts rather than simply bestowed. This meritocracy, born of necessity, bound the group together through mutual reliance and recognized value. The Paleolithic economy you learn is a direct, immediate consumption system, utterly devoid of abstract concepts like currency or markets. It's an economy stripped down to its bare essentials, entirely dependent on hunting and foraging. These two activities serve as the twin pillars of your sustenance and resource acquisition, and there is virtually no surplus beyond what can be immediately used or carried. Hoarding is impractical and counterproductive in a nomadic lifestyle. You consume what you catch or gather, and you move on when local resources are depleted. This immediate hand-to-mouth existence shapes every decision, every movement, every social interaction within your band. Meat, particularly from large game, represents the highest value resource. It provides dense calories, essential protein and valuable materials like hides for clothing and shelter bones for tools and sinews for lashing. Its procurement is central to the group's prosperity and a key driver of social recognition for successful hunters. A successful kill means not just sustenance but warmth, shelter, and the tools necessary for continued survival. The excitement, the shared relief, and the communal effort involved in processing a large animal underscore its immense value. This isn't just food, it's the very foundation of your existence, a tangible measure of your band's well-being, and a powerful symbol of successful collaboration. Resource scarcity and availability directly compel your nomadic lifestyle. You recognize the pattern as local food sources, both plants and game, are depleted, or as animal migrations shift seasonally, your group is forced to move campsites frequently. There is no permanent settlement, no fixed address. Your home is wherever the resources are abundant, wherever the game roams, wherever the water flows freely. This constant movement is not a choice but an imperative, a relentless dance with the natural world that dictates your very existence. You become attuned to the subtle signs of depletion, the quiet warnings that it's time to pack up your meagre belongings and seek new grounds. Sharing of food and essential resources is not just an act of generosity. It's a fundamental, unwritten economic principle, vital for maintaining group cohesion and ensuring the survival of all members. Hoarding, you understand, could lead to ostracism and instability. In a world where every day is a gamble for sustenance, where one member's misfortune could mean starvation, mutual support is paramount. If one hunter fails, another's success feeds the group. If one gatherer finds little, another's full basket sustains everyone. This communal sharing acts as a rudimentary social safety net, a collective insurance policy against individual failure or bad luck, reinforcing the idea that the strength of the group lies in its unity and its willingness to support one another. Beyond food, the careful management of water fuel for fire and raw materials for tools and shelters constitutes the entirety of your resource economy. Each requires constant effort and strategic conservation. Water, as you know, is vital and often scarce. Fuel for fire, especially in treeless regions or during long winters, must be collected meticulously and protected fiercely. Raw materials, flint, obsidian, wood, animal hides, bone, are the building blocks of your technology and survival, requiring careful sourcing and skilled processing. There's no waste. Every scrap, every fragment is valued and repurposed. This minimalist approach to resources ensures that nothing is taken for granted and every item holds intrinsic value. Value in this Paleolithic context is intrinsic to the resource itself. There is no abstract currency, no coins, no bartering system beyond the direct exchange of goods and services, and even that is rare. Prosperity is measured not by accumulated wealth or possessions, but by the immediate presence of food in your stomach, water to drink, and functional tools at hand. A full belly, a warm hearth, and a sharp spear are the ultimate indicators of well-being. There are no savings accounts, no investments, only the immediate tangible realities of survival. This stark simplicity strips away all but the most fundamental human needs, focusing your attention entirely on the present moment and the relentless quest for life. The Paleolithic existence you inhabit is a constant negotiation with the raw, untamed power of nature. You learn very quickly that seasonal shifts directly dictate food abundance, ushering in periods of severe scarcity and pervasive hunger. The long, harsh winters test your limits, forcing you to rely on meagre stored provisions and your collective resilience. Spring, though a welcome relief, often brings its own challenges, like floods from melting snow, or the need to re-establish new foraging grounds. You live by the rhythms of the earth, its cycles, its demands, acutely aware that your very survival is inextricably linked to its generosity or its indifference. This isn't a world where you control nature, it's a world where nature controls you. The omnipresent threat of large predators is a chilling reality you live with daily. From formidable carnivores like cave lions and dire wolves to opportunistic scavengers that stalk the periphery of your camp, these animals demand unceasing vigilance. The communal fire, your flickering guardian against the dark, becomes an indispensable life-saving defense. Its warmth is a fragile barrier, its crackle and smoke a deterrent to creatures whose strength and cunning far outmatch your own. You learn to interpret every distant growl, every rustle in the undergrowth, every shadow as a potential threat. Sleep is rarely deep, often punctuated by the need to check the fire, to listen for sounds that indicate danger, a constant low-level hum of anxiety that never truly leaves you. Humans, you discover, frequently find themselves in direct, often dangerous competition with wildlife for critical resources. It's a constant battle for survival, not just with predators, but with fellow foragers. You might find yourself battling a bear for a patch of ripe berries, risking injury for a precious source of calories. Or you might compete with other scavengers for the remains of a kill, trying to outwit them for a few scraps of meat, or a bone filled with nourishing marrow. Even a beehive, a rare source of sweet honey, requires a risky encounter with its stinging inhabitants. These encounters, whether with a protective mother bear or a swarm of angry bees, highlight the precariousness of your position in the food chain and the constant need for cunning and courage. Sickness and injury are omnipresent threats, representing a rolling of dice with the universe every single day. There is no advanced medical care, no antibiotics, no sophisticated healing knowledge to fall back on. A broken bone, a deep cut, or a persistent fever can quickly become debilitating, turning an active member of the group into a burden or worse, leading to a slow, painful death. You watch with a mix of fear and resignation as companions succumb to ailments that in your modern world would be easily treated. Every cough, every ache, every cut carries a weight of anxiety, for you know that even a minor affliction can have devastating, irreversible outcomes. Your body is your most vital tool, and its vulnerability is a constant, stark reminder of the tenuousness of your existence. Travel a necessity for your nomadic survival subjects, your group to the full unmitigated force of the elements. There's no escaping the weather. Torrential rain can turn a simple journey into a miserable, chilling slog, soaking your hides and making every step treacherous. Biting winds whip across open plains, stealing your body heat and forcing you to huddle close for warmth. Deep snowfalls can make travel almost impossible, burying pathways and forcing you to break new trails through exhausting drifts. Against these forces, only your crude clothing and temporary shelters offer any respite, and often it feels woefully inadequate. You learn to endure, to push through the discomfort, knowing that stopping means risking hypothermia or starvation. The vast, perilous wilderness offers no margin for error. Becoming separated from your group, even for a short time, is almost invariably a death sentence. There are no search parties, no organised rescue efforts. You are a single, vulnerable entity against overwhelming forces, predators, exposure, starvation, and the sheer disorientation of an unfamiliar landscape. This extreme vulnerability of individuals against nature's overwhelming power underscores the absolute lack of social safety nets. Your survival depends entirely on the collective, on being part of the band. The thought of being alone, lost in the trackless expanse, is a deep primal fear that reinforces the paramount importance of staying together, of never wandering too far. The Paleolithic world offers no formal relief efforts or institutionalized support during times of crisis. There are no charities, no government agencies, no reserves to fall back on. When famine strikes or a widespread disease sweeps through communities, face nature's challenges with only their ingenuity, their resilience, and their group cooperation to rely upon. You witness the strength of communal bonds in these desperate times, the shared struggle, the silent understanding that you are all in this together. But you also witness loss, the quiet tragedies that leave their mark on the survivors. This absence of external support highlights the self-sufficiency of your band and the profound importance of internal solidarity. Beyond the physical demands and macro-level constraints, Paleolithic life, you'll discover, is deeply structured by intangible, yet potent cultural norms. These unspoken rules shape everything from silent communication to artistic expression, profoundly influencing the nature of human connection. It's not just about what you do, but how you do it. The subtle gestures, the shared understandings that define your interactions. These cultural disciplines, often expressed in rituals and traditions, imbue your daily existence with meaning and purpose, connecting you to your ancestors and to the very fabric of your society. This unwritten code, though invisible, is as powerful and binding as any written law in later civilizations. Evening gatherings around the fire serve as the primary nexus for social interaction and communication. After a day of ceaseless labours, the warm glow of the flames offers both physical comfort and a vital sense of shared community and mutual support. As darkness falls and the dangers of the outside world become more pronounced, the fire circle transforms into a sanctuary, a place where the day's events are recounted, anxieties are subtly eased and bonds are strengthened. You sit perhaps gnawing on a bone or tending a small task, absorbing the stories and the quiet companionship. This is where the oral history of your band is kept alive, where knowledge is shared, and where the human need for connection finds its most profound expression. Conversations around the fire are rarely small talk in the modern sense. Instead, they are powerful storytelling sessions. You'd hear vivid recounts of the day's hunts told with dramatic flair and expressive gestures, reliving the tension of the chase and the triumph of the kill. Myths about spirits that inhabit the forests and rivers are shared, explaining the unexplainable and reinforcing your animistic worldview. Tales of revered ancestors, their deeds and wisdom are passed down, connecting you to your past. And cautionary tales of past mishaps, a hunter who strayed too far, a gatherer who ate a poisonous berry, serve as vital lessons subtly, reinforcing communal rules and the dangers of the world. These stories are not just entertainment. They are the living encyclopedia of your people, a repository of essential knowledge and shared values. Oral tradition, you realize, is the paramount method for transmitting essential knowledge. There are no books, no written records. Everything you need to know to survive, what plants are edible and which are deadly, the ideal hunting grounds for each season, the movements of game animals, the techniques for crafting tools, is embedded within these memorable narratives. Elders with their vast stores of knowledge are living libraries, and their stories are carefully listened to and absorbed. This ensures its passage across generations, a continuous chain of learning that binds the past to the present and future. You listen intently, for your very life depends on remembering these tales, on understanding their hidden lessons, on carrying the wisdom forward. Bragging about individual successes such as a triumphant hunt or the creation of a particularly well-crafted tool is an accepted and understood form of communication. It's not seen as boastful in the way it might be today. Instead, it subtly reinforces social status, demonstrating competence and contribution to the group. It also serves to inspire emulation within the band. When a hunter recounts a daring kill, or a toolmaker displays a perfectly flaked blade, it sets a standard, encouraging others to hone their skills, to strive for similar achievements. This is a practical, almost functional form of self-promotion, a way to publicly affirm one's value and solidify one's place within the dynamic social hierarchy of your community. Flirting in this raw and practical world is a pragmatic and subtle art, entirely devoid of the elaborate rituals and flowery language of later societies. It's rarely expressed through direct words, but rather through concrete actions that demonstrate tangible value and commitment. Offering a choicer piece of food, a particularly succulent morsel of meat, or a rare sweet fruit to someone you admire, is a powerful indicator of interest. Choosing to sit closer to them by the fire, allowing your warmth to mingle, is another quiet sign. Perhaps refraining from mockery when they make a minor mistake, offering support instead of derision, communicates a deeper regard. These gestures speak volumes, conveying interest and potential commitment through acts of support, care, and practical partnership, laying the groundwork for a shared future. While formal etiquette, as you might conceive of it, is absent, unspoken rules govern communal meals. You quickly learn the clear understanding not to snatch the last bite of food, especially if you haven't directly contributed to its procurement. Such an act would be a grave breach of the delicate balance of sharing and contribution, potentially leading to social disapproval or even conflict. There's an intuitive understanding of fairness, a recognition that the group's harmony depends on equitable distribution of scarce resources. These subtle rules maintain harmony, reinforcing the collective understanding that everyone's needs must be considered, and that individual greed can destabilize the fragile fabric of your community. Despite the constant imperative for survival, you observe that Paleolithic humans invest time and disciplined effort into artistic expression. This isn't a luxury, it's a fundamental human need to create and record. They transform cold, often remote cave walls into canvases that speak to a deep-seated desire for meaning beyond mere sustenance. You might find yourself pausing captivated before a vibrant depiction of a charging bison or a herd of majestic horses illuminated by the soft shimmer of a torch. These aren't crude doodles, they're artworks displaying remarkable skill, a testament to the artist's keen observation and dedication, a silent conversation across millennia. The earliest known cave paintings, like those in Lascaux and Chauvet in what you would eventually call France, display astonishing artistic skill. You'd see animals such as bison, deer horses, and mammoths rendered with surprising accuracy, a vibrant sense of motion and dynamic energy. These aren't static images. They pulse with life, capturing the essence of the creatures that both sustained and threatened your ancestors. The artist understood anatomy perspective and the power of line and form. You might even feel a shiver of recognition, a connection to these ancient creators as you witness their mastery, knowing they face the same fundamental struggle for existence as you do. Artists utilize rudimentary natural pigments, charcoal from your fires, ochre and natural earth pigment ranging in hues from yellow to deep red, and manganese ground into fine powders and mixed with water animal fat or even saliva to create paint. They applied these pigments with their fingers with chewed sticks acting as brushes, or even by blowing pigment through hollow bones to create a spray paint effect. These sophisticated early techniques demonstrate an advanced understanding of materials and application far beyond what you might expect from a primitive society. The choice of pigments and the methods of application were themselves a form of cultural discipline passed down and refined over generations, connecting artist to art and art to the very earth itself. The motivations behind this enduring art remain debated by later scholars, but in your time you feel its immediate visceral power. It likely intertwined deeply with storytelling, spiritual beliefs, and perhaps even served as a form of hunting ritual. You might observe your companions touching the painted images of animals before a hunt, as if to ensure success or to honour the spirits of the hunted. It's a deeply personal and cultural act, a way of interacting with the world, not just physically but spiritually. These images are more than just pictures. They are prayers, hopes and memories made manifest on the stone, a testament to a complex inner life that defies the harshness of daily survival. The presence of tiny handprints in some caves, often alongside the grand animal depictions, suggests that artistic creation was a skill taught from an early age. You might see children observing, perhaps even assisting the elder artists, absorbing the techniques and the spiritual significance of the work. This fosters a communal artistic spirit, ensuring the continuation of this unique form of expression, a legacy passed from one generation to the next. It's a quiet, continuous tradition, an unbroken line of human creativity stretching back into the mists of time, affirming that the urge to create is as fundamental as the urge to survive. The enduring nature of these painted animals, long outlasting the temporary huts and crumbled fire pits, serves as a poignant testament to the profound human need for creative expression beyond mere sustenance. These images are silent witnesses connecting your present to an ancient past, reminding you that even in the most challenging of times, the human spirit found ways to imbue its world with beauty, meaning, and a sense of permanence. You look at a painted mammoth, its powerful form frozen in time, and you feel a connection, a shared humanity with those who came before a quiet understanding that life is more than just eating and sleeping. Paleolithic life is deeply permeated by an animistic worldview where natural phenomena, animals, and revered ancestors are imbued with spiritual significance. The rustle of leaves, the roar of thunder, the flight of a bird, all are seen not as random occurrences but as expressions of unseen forces, messages from the spirit world. You learn to interpret these signs to understand the subtle language of nature. Animals are not merely food. They possess spirits, powers, and a profound connection to the cosmic order. This worldview guides your daily interpretations of events and surroundings, imbuing every aspect of your life with a sense of sacredness and interconnectedness. Storytelling around the fire, as you've observed frequently, incorporates myths and tales about powerful spirits and the revered ancestors. These narratives serve not only as entertainment, drawing your band closer in the soft warmth, but also as a fundamental means of explaining the world. Why does the river flood? What causes the animals to migrate? These questions are answered through the rich tapestry of myth. They also reinforce cultural values teaching about courage, generosity, and respect for the natural world. The spirits of the ancestors are never far guiding, watching, and sometimes demanding respect. This constant recounting of myths shapes your understanding of the universe and your place within it. The role of shamans, or medicine people in some groups, points to a profound belief in individuals capable of mediating with the spiritual realm. You might observe such a figure, perhaps an elder, adorned with feathers or painted symbols, entering a trance-like state during a ritual. They act as both herbal healers, possessing an encyclopedic knowledge of medicinal plants and spiritual guides, interpreting dreams and communicating with the unseen. Their practices blend practical and mystical elements, for in your world the physical and spiritual are not separate, they are interwoven. Their presence offers comfort and guidance, a vital link between the tangible world of survival and the intangible realm of spirits and ancestors. Cave art itself, you understand, is widely hypothesized to be deeply connected to spiritual and hunting rituals. The act of painting an animal, you might believe, is a form of sympathetic magic, an attempt to gain control over the creature, to ensure success in the hunt or to honor its spirit after a kill. It's a sacred act, a communion with the forces that govern your existence. The images are not merely decorative, they are imbued with power, a tangible representation of your hopes and fears, your respect for the natural world, and your desperate desire for survival. This makes the caves not just shelters, but sacred spaces, cathedrals of the prehistoric mind. A pervasive belief in omens and the power of natural signs means that unusual occurrences or environmental phenomena are likely interpreted as direct messages from the spirit world. A sudden, unexplained flight of birds, a strange constellation of stars, a peculiar animal sound, these not dismissed as random. Instead, they are observed, keenly discussed and interpreted, often influencing collective and individual decisions. You learn to be hyper-aware of your surroundings, to read the subtle language of the world, for these signs can be warnings, guidance, or prophecies. This constant vigilance, this deep connection to the rhythms of nature makes you an integral part of the larger living ecosystem. Ritualistic or deeply spiritual aspects of daily life are subtly woven into the fabric of your existence, often unnoticed by you, because they are simply the way things are done. Specific ways of preparing an animal for consumption, perhaps a small offering made to its spirit before the meal, or offerings made to ancestral spirits before a hunt are common. These aren't grand ceremonies every time, but small ingrained practices that connect your actions to your beliefs. They are expressions of gratitude, of respect, of a constant awareness that you are part of a larger spiritual order. These quiet rituals imbue even the most mundane tasks with deeper meaning, linking your physical actions to your spiritual worldview. Relationships and pair bonds form organically in your Paleolithic community. There's no elaborate courtship, no formal dating rituals. Instead, partnerships often arise from a quiet mutual understanding, that shared reliability and sustained effort are the bedrock of a successful life together. You observe couples whose bond seems to grow from shared tasks, from the mutual protection offered by two individuals facing a harsh world. It's a pragmatic connection built on trust and cooperation rather than abstract romantic ideals. These bonds are essential, for an individual stands little chance of long-term survival alone. Marriage, though lacking any formal ceremony as you might understand it, functions as a highly pragmatic alliance. It is essential for cooperation in raising highly vulnerable children who require years of constant care and protection. It also facilitates the pooling of resources, combining the efforts of a hunter and a gatherer, for example, to collectively endure the harshness of long, unforgiving winters. Your partnership is a unit of survival, a mutual support system designed to maximize your chances in a challenging world. It's a quiet agreement, a shared understanding of responsibilities, and a commitment to facing the perils of life together. The dating pool in your world is inherently circumscribed by the small nomadic nature of your band. Typically, you live in groups of 20-40 people, perhaps a few more or less, depending on the season and resources. This severely limits your choices to those not already claimed or too closely related. Proximity therefore becomes a primary factor in forming bonds. You're constantly interacting with the same individuals, observing their strengths and weaknesses, their temperament and their contributions. It's an intimate, unavoidable assessment of potential partners where true character is revealed through daily struggles rather than carefully curated appearances. Romantic gestures are practical and understated, focusing on demonstrating tangible value. There are no flowers, no expensive gifts. Instead, offerings of the choicest meat from a successful hunt or a willingly shared handful of precious berries are powerful indicators of genuine interest and commitment. These acts show that you're capable, generous, and willing to provide for a potential partner and future family. Choosing to share your warmth by the fire, sitting shoulder to shoulder on a cold night, speaks volumes without a single word. These are the quiet expressions of affection rooted in the fundamental needs of survival and mutual care. Individual worth in mate selection is heavily tied to survival skills. A proficient hunter capable of bringing down large game and providing substantial protein holds a significantly better chance of attracting a partner than someone who is less capable. Similarly, an expert forager with a keen eye for edible plants and an intimate knowledge of the land is highly valued. Dependability, resilience, and the ability to contribute consistently to the group's well-being are paramount. These are the qualities that ensure not just individual survival, but the survival of your offspring and the strength of your family unit. There's no room for idleness or inefficiency. Competence is the ultimate currency in forming a partnership. While often long-term for the purposes of collective survival, and child-rearing pair bonds are not necessarily permanent. Quiet separations can occur if a partnership proves ineffective, if one partner consistently fails to contribute, or if personal incompatibilities create too much discord within the fragile group dynamics. Such separations are often marked by fewer shared tasks, increased social distance, and a subtle renegotiation of roles within the band. There are no lengthy legal proceedings or formal divorces. The necessities of survival dictate a pragmatic approach to relationships. If a partnership no longer serves its purpose for collective well-being, it can quietly dissolve with new alignments forming as needed. The absence of modern romantic ideals means relationships are primarily built on quiet companionship, shared physical warmth, and the profound mutual understanding that facing the perils of the world together is infinitely safer than facing them alone. Love in this context is less about passionate declarations and more about the steady, unwavering commitment to mutual survival. It's the shared silence around the fire, the knowing glance during a dangerous hunt, the quiet comfort of a body beside you during a freezing night. This deep practical bond forged in the crucible of necessity forms the emotional core of your existence, providing strength and solace against an often brutal world. Thus, the intimate routines and personal struggles of daily Paleolithic existence, forged in the crucible of your physical surroundings, give way to a deeper understanding of your social world. These daily rhythms simultaneously give rise to a rich, if unwritten, social code, and a profound cultural understanding of your place in the world. It is a testament to the human spirit's ability to find meaning and connection, even in the most challenging environments. But this delicate balance of cultural expectations and social bonds, while primarily maintained through communal understanding, is ultimately reinforced by an implicit system of practical control, demanding adherence and eliciting various human responses from cooperation to desperate survival tactics. You'll quickly learn that in Paleolithic communities, individualism is profoundly suppressed in favour of collective identity. The small nomadic band or family group serves as the primary source of your identity, your reputation, and your mutual security. There's no concept of striking out on your own for self-discovery. Such a venture would be suicidal. Your existence, your very definition as a person, is tied intrinsically to the group. Your name, your skills, your history, all are understood within the context of your band. This collective identity is not a burden but a necessity, a protective shield against the overwhelming forces of nature. Individual actions bear significant weight, directly impacting the collective's standing safety and ability to secure resources. A grave error by one, a missed target during a hunt, an oversight in maintaining the fire, a careless mistake in identifying edible plants, could endanger the entire group. This creates a powerful sense of shared responsibility. There's no hiding from the consequences of your actions, for everyone's well-being is intertwined. This constant awareness of the collective good shapes your behaviour, making you acutely aware that your personal choices have far-reaching implications for everyone you depend on and who depends on you. The constant communal living ensures that privacy didn't exist. Every individual's behaviour and performance are under continuous implicit social scrutiny. Your skills, your temperament, your willingness to contribute, all are observed by your companions. This constant observation reinforces conformity to group norms. Deviate too far and you risk drawing the disapproval of the band, a subtle but powerful form of social control. This isn't necessarily oppressive. It's a natural consequence of living in such close proximity, where survival hinges on trust and predictability within the group. Maintaining group cohesion is paramount for survival. You understand implicitly that any behaviour that deliberately fosters discord or undermines trust, such as burning bridges over meat, a metaphor for selfishly taking more than your share, or creating unnecessary conflict over scarce resources, is met with strong social disapproval. This isn't just about hurt feelings, it's about threatening the very stability of the group. Such actions could lead to ostracism, a quiet but potent form of punishment that isolates the individual and diminishes their standing. In a world where collective action is key to survival, unity is not just an ideal, but a practical necessity fiercely guarded by the communal will. The far-reaching impact of scandal in the Paleolithic sense, though not involving media headlines, extends to the entire lineage. A gross incompetence during a hunt that leads to injury, or a repeated pattern of selfish acts that jeopardizes the group would not be quickly forgotten. Oral traditions would remember and relate such events, shaping future perceptions of not just the individual, but also their family or descendants. Your reputation, and by extension your family's, is built over generations, and a significant negative event could cast a long shadow. This serves as a powerful deterrent, encouraging individuals to act with responsibility and to consider the long-term impact of their actions on their kin. Generational impact is strong. The stories of successful hunters, wise elders, or skilled craftspeople contribute to the collective reputation of their descendants, affording them a degree of respect and goodwill. Conversely, tales of failure, cowardice, or repeated poor judgment could cast a long shadow over one's lineage, affecting how others perceive and interact with your family members. This ancestral memory passed down through campfire stories reinforces the importance of living honourably and contributing positively to the group, for your actions echo far beyond your own lifetime, shaping the social landscape for those who come after you. The delicate balance of cultural expectations and social bonds, while primarily maintained through communal understanding, is ultimately reinforced by an implicit system of practical control. This system demands adherence to norms and elicits various human responses, from cooperation to desperate survival tactics. It is not a formalized legal structure, but a pervasive web of expectations and consequences that ensures the group functions as a cohesive unit. This overarching control, though often unseen, is a fundamental force shaping every interaction and every decision, ensuring that the collective interest always takes precedence. Formal institutionalized power, as you would define it, is absent in your Paleolithic world. There are no kings, no chiefs with inherited titles, no designated governing bodies. Instead, practical authority resides in individuals who consistently demonstrate exceptional skills vital for the group's immediate survival. A master hunter whose tracking and killing prowess ensures the band's protein supply wields significant though informal power. A skilled toolmaker whose ability to create sharp, effective implements keeps everyone equipped also commands respect and influence. This is a power based on competence and contribution, not on birthright or abstract authority. Leadership emerges dynamically, shifting with the demands of the situation. There isn't a single fixed leader for all occasions. When a dangerous hunt is planned, the individual best equipped to navigate the terrain and orchestrate the kill will temporarily assume a leading role. When a new water source needs to be found during a drought, the person with the most intimate knowledge of the local springs and rivers will step forward. This is leadership born of necessity and recognized competence, respected for their ability to guide the group through critical moments. You learn to follow those with proven expertise, understanding that their guidance directly enhances the collective's chances of survival against constant threats. Influence and respect you've observed are earned through consistent, tangible contributions, providing food, maintaining the essential firecrafting essential tools. This merit-based social authority stands in stark contrast to later societies, where power could be inherited or bought. Here your standing is a direct reflection of your usefulness to the group. If you consistently contribute, if you demonstrate courage and skill, your voice will carry more weight in communal discussions. If you falter, your influence wanes. It's a system designed for efficiency, ensuring that those who guide the group are the most capable and dependable, a constant reaffirmation of value through action. There is an implicit expectation of obedience to those demonstrating leadership in critical moments. This isn't blind subservience. It's a pragmatic recognition that a well-coordinated hunt, a swift escape from a predator, or the rapid construction of a shelter requires a degree of command and follow-through. Following experienced individuals directly enhances the collective's chances of survival. Disobedience in such situations could have fatal consequences for everyone, making compliance a matter of life and death. You learn to trust the judgment of those who have proven their ability to lead in the face of danger, understanding that unity of purpose is essential when survival is on the line. The cascading demand for obedience is driven purely by practicality. Imagine the chaos if every hunter decided on their own strategy, or if every individual had a different idea for the shelter. A well-coordinated hunt or a swiftly constructed shelter requires a degree of command and follow-through for effective execution. This isn't about arbitrary rules. It's about the efficient deployment of collective effort to achieve a common life-sustaining goal. You understand that sometimes one voice must direct and others must follow for the benefit of all. This is the rudimentary governance system of your world, built on necessity, not philosophy. Elders often hold significant though informal power due to their accumulated knowledge and wisdom. Their counsel is sought and respected, particularly when the group faces complex decisions about migration, intergroup relations, or resource allocation. They are the living memory of the band repositories of generations of experience, their insights invaluable for guiding the group through challenges and ensuring cultural continuity. Their wisdom, born of countless seasons and encounters with life's harsh realities, commands a quiet, profound respect, and their words often carry the weight of tradition and proven survival strategies. Your Paleolithic society lacks formal legal codes or a designated justice system as you would understand it. There are no written laws, no judges, no prisons. Instead, social order is upheld through immediate group norms, direct social pressure, and pragmatic consequences for deviant behaviour. You learn what is acceptable and what is not by observing the reactions of your companions, by understanding the unspoken rules that govern your interactions. This isn't a system of abstract justice, but of practical survival, where maintaining harmony is crucial for collective well-being. The will of the immediate superior, in a specific context, for instance the lead hunter's strategy during a chase, or the decision of the firekeeper regarding fuel conservation functions as de facto law. Deviation from such critical directives could jeopardize the entire ban, making compliance essential. Similarly, the consensus of the group in vital situations, reached through discussion and often guided by elders, holds the weight of law. To go against this collective will is to endanger everyone, and such an act would be met with swift and direct consequences, reinforcing the immediate and practical nature of your social order. Punishments are primarily social, manifesting as angry looks, ostracism from the warmth and camaraderie of the fire circle, or being assigned undesirable solitary tasks. These sanctions highlight the group's displeasure, and the individual's diminished standing, a powerful psychological deterrent in a world where social connection is vital for survival. Being excluded from the fire, from conversations, from the collective warmth, feels like a deep cold, a subtle but potent threat to your very existence. These social pressures are often enough to correct errant behaviour, as the fear of isolation is a profound one. The gonengumi system of collective responsibility seen in later Japanese history finds a rudimentary echo in Paleolithic life. A significant failure by one member, for example, letting the communal fire die during a crucial period, or failing to secure a trap that leads to the loss of vital game, could bring collective suffering or scorn upon their immediate family unit. This reinforces the interconnectedness of the group. Your actions reflect not just on yourself, but on those closest to you. This collective accountability fosters a strong sense of responsibility, encouraging individuals to prioritize the group's well-being and to support each other. Individual rights, as understood today, are largely non-existent. There is no concept of personal liberty above the collective good. The needs and survival of the collective group always supersede individual desires or perceived entitlements, emphasizing communal welfare. Your identity is tied to the group. Your rights are derived from your contribution to its survival. This isn't a world of self-expression. It's a world of self-preservation, where the individual serves the whole and the whole protects the individual. This stark reality shapes your understanding of personal freedom and responsibility, focusing entirely on what benefits the band. Conflict resolution is informal, often mediated by respected elders who draw upon their wisdom and the oral traditions of the group. Sometimes, however, disputes can escalate into direct physical confrontation, swift and brutal, fought with whatever tools are at hand. The ultimate severe consequence for persistent troublemaking for someone who consistently undermines group harmony or endangers the collective is banishment from the group. This is not a light punishment. To be cast out into the vast, perilous wilderness alone is often a death sentence, a stark reminder of the absolute necessity of conformity and contribution to the band. Death is a constant, stark reality in Paleolithic life, often met with a stoic acceptance rather than fear. It's understood as an inevitable outcome of a perilous existence shaping a worldview of impermanence. You see lives brutally cut short by predators, by illness, by accidents, or by the harsh elements. There's no illusion of control, no expectation of a long, comfortable life. This constant proximity to death fosters a profound appreciation for each day, a focus on immediate survival, and a quiet resignation to fate. It's a reality that grounds you, reminding you of your place in the natural order, shaping your understanding of life's brevity. Honor in your world is inextricably linked to one's competence, courage, and consistent contribution to the group's survival. Demonstrating these traits, bringing down game, protecting the fire, enduring hardship without complaint brings respect and elevates your standing. Failure to contribute cowardice in the face of danger or repeated incompetence, however, can lead to social marginalization, diminishing your honor in the eyes of your companions. This honor is not an abstract concept. It is a tangible measure of your value to the collective, a direct reflection of your ability to help the band survive. Unlike later ritualized practices like seppuku ritual suicide for honor in feudal Japan, death is not typically a valued act of atonement in your Paleolithic society. Rather, it is the ultimate unyielding consequence for severe transgression, gross incompetence, or sheer misfortune. There is no ceremonial dignity in this end. It is simply the finality of existence. A mistake that leads to the loss of a vital resource or an act of betrayal that endangers the group can result in punitive measures that lead directly to death, underscoring its role as the ultimate control mechanism in your society. The societal expectation is a calm, practical acceptance of one's fate. This reflects the limited human control over the overwhelming forces of nature and the inherent dangers of your environment. You find no cause to, as later poets might suggest, rage against the dying of the light. Instead, you accept it as the natural, unyielding course of things. This stoicism is not a lack of emotion, but a learned resilience, a recognition that some things are beyond your power to change. It's a pragmatic approach to mortality, allowing the living to focus on their own survival rather than on protracted mourning. Any action that deliberately endangered the group's survival or resources was seen as a severe betrayal, potentially leading to a direct and often fatal punitive response from the community. If you were to intentionally spoil food, attract predators to the camp, or steal vital tools, you would not merely be ostracized. You could face summary justice. This underscores death as the ultimate control mechanism. In a society where survival is precarious, and every individual is a resource, such deliberate acts of sabotage are intolerable and met with the gravest of consequences, ensuring that the collective interest remains paramount. The prompt removal of a deceased individual's spot by the fire vividly illustrated the harsh practicality of survival. There was no lingering memorial, no empty space maintained indefinitely out of sentiment. Resources, space food, warmth, were simply too scarce to mourn indefinitely, and the group had to continue its relentless quest for life. This isn't a sign of callousness, but of necessity. Life had to go on, and the focus immediately shifted to the living, to ensuring the continuity of the band. It's a stark reminder that in your Paleolithic world, practicality always trumped sentiment. While large-scale rebellions, as understood in later stratified societies, were not part of Paleolithic social dynamics, localized discontent and conflict certainly arose. These often stemmed from severe resource scarcity, encroachment on established hunting or foraging grounds by rival bands, or perceived injustices within or between bands. These weren't about overthrowing a king. They were about securing the basic necessities of life, about defending the very means of your survival. Such conflicts, though smaller in scale, were just as vital and immediate to those involved. Tensions could easily escalate over critical resources. A prime hunting territory known for its abundance of game could become a flashpoint between your band and another. An unusually rich berry patch, a rare find, could lead to skirmishes. Even essential firewood, especially during a harsh winter, could spark disputes. These disputes might manifest as subtle acts of aggression like neighbours who kept stealing your firewood, escalating to outright confrontations if not resolved. Every resource was precious, and the competition for them was a constant undercurrent in intergroup relations. Uprisings were more likely to manifest as internal disputes challenging the authority of an ineffective leader who repeatedly made poor decisions that jeopardized the group. Or they could take the form of violent clashes with rival bands competing for the same limited resources. These weren't abstract political struggles. They were often brutal, visceral contests over the very means of existence. Survival dictated that leadership be effective and resources be defended, leading to fierce competition and internal challenges when these needs weren't met. Such conflicts, whether internal or external, were often swift and brutal. Fought with stone tools, spears and clubs, they involved direct personal combat. The consequences for participants were severe, including injury, permanent disability, death, or the forced displacement of the entire group from their ancestral lands. There were no Geneva Conventions, no rules of engagement beyond the raw imperative of victory and survival. You learned that violence, though a last resort, was an ever-present possibility, and that engaging in it carried immense personal and communal risk. Initial gains in such disputes could be short-lived. A victory in securing a hunting ground one season might be overturned by a stronger, more numerous rival band the next. The continuous struggle for survival meant that victories were often temporary and required constant vigilance against renewed aggression or retaliation. There was no lasting peace, only a fragile truce, a temporary balance of power that could shift with the seasons, with resource availability, or with the waxing and waning strength of rival groups. This constant state of low-level tension and potential conflict was another layer of anxiety in your daily life. The extreme consequences for involvement in these conflicts, ranging from severe injury to outright death or group dissolution, served as a powerful deterrent. Individuals and bands were forced to carefully weigh the costs of aggression. A single skirmish could decimate your numbers, leaving your remaining members vulnerable. This meant that most groups preferred avoidance and negotiation to outright warfare, resorting to violence only when absolutely necessary, when their very survival was at stake. This pragmatic approach to conflict was another facet of your life, dictated by the harsh realities of the Paleolithic world. The concept of a masterless warrior, like a ronin, a samurai without a lord, is anachronistic in your Paleolithic world. However, it had its own profound form of social ostracism and the systemic problem of the isolated individual. You would sometimes hear hushed tales of individuals who were separated or more chillingly cast out. These were not romantic figures. They were tragic ones facing an almost certain end. This systemic problem of isolation highlights the absolute dependence on the group for survival, emphasizing that a lone individual was almost guaranteed to perish. Reasons for this discarded status could stem from severe incompetence that repeatedly endangered the group, repeated selfish behavior that undermined trust, chronic illness that made one a perpetual burden, or simply being separated from the group due to accident or conflict during travel or a hunt. These individuals faced profound struggles, including immediate poverty of resources, absolute social ostracism, and the desperate choices forced by extreme vulnerability. Without the collective, they were nothing, exposed to every danger the world could throw at them. Such individuals, stripped of their communal identity and support, faced desperate choices out of sheer necessity. They might attempt solitary high-risk hunting or foraging, often leading to injury or starvation. Or in a desperate bid for survival, they might attempt to join other perhaps hostile bands, an incredibly dangerous gamble that could end in acceptance, rejection, or even violence. Getting separated in prehistoric wilderness was rarely survivable, a stark truth that hammered home the point isolation from the protective social unit was effectively a death sentence, whether intentional or accidental. This fear of being cast out of being alone was a potent force in maintaining group cohesion and adherence to norms. The existence of isolated individuals, whether through banishment or accident, represented a systemic problem of instability for the wider Paleolithic landscape. Such vulnerable people could become easy prey for predators, or if desperate enough, a threat to other groups' resources. A lone starving individual might raid another band's stored provisions, triggering conflict. Their very presence on the periphery could signal a warning or a potential danger. This underscores the continuous fragile balance between individual survival and group dynamics, and how every human life, whether part of a collective or tragically alone, played a part in the complex tapestry of the ancient world. Thus, the relentless dance of power control and human response from the unspoken rules of the group to the stark consequences of isolation shaped the boundaries of Paleolithic existence, ensuring that every act, every struggle, and every choice was profoundly intertwined with the fundamental quest for survival in a world both beautiful and brutal. You learn that in this world, life is lived on the edge, a constant testament to resilience, resourcefulness, and the unbreakable spirit of humanity. As the last embers of our Paleolithic journey softly fade, take a deep, calming breath. Feel the quiet hum of your own modern world so far removed from the constant vigilance of the ancient plains. You're not huddled against the cold earth listening for predators, or wondering where your next meal will come from. Instead, you're nestled in comfort, perhaps with a soft blanket, the gentle glow of a screen, and the certainty of tomorrow. Let the sounds of that distant past, the soft crackle of an ancient fire, the whisper of wind through primordial forests, the low rumble of communal sleep recede. Allow your mind to gently release the sense of damp earth and wood smoke, the tangible anxieties of sustenance and survival. Drift now from the vast untamed wilderness of prehistory back to the quiet sanctuary of your present moment. The journey has been long, the lessons profound, but the time for restless striving is over. Your ancestors endured. They thrived. They built the very foundations upon which your comfortable existence rests. And now, as their story settles into the quiet archives of your mind, it's time for you to rest too. Let the knowledge of their resilience be a gentle lullaby. The world outside is still safe and ready for you to simply be. Sweet dreams, dear listener.